Now, only for Nigeria, now they'll say they want to arrest somebody. Another person will come they stand pull for the way. Or even the toss go come they stop. No, as a democracy country, as a country that is free, under normal circumstances, in any part of the world, like example for Italy right now, it get the group of parliament people where be say they don't see their hands, say they don't do one or two. Some of them, they just put their shirt by themselves. They say they know until the investigation they conclude that they're not there for that seat again. Many of them, they by themselves, they dismiss themselves. Why be say the one way they there? Anytime when they take call out for interview, it must go. Because they say clear conscience, fear no accusation. It must go. When you go there, yes, go carry lawyer for nobody, they go explain. But for Nigeria, 9 toss go, they stop. Efcc made a no arrest person. Who does that? I mean, I want to see this video now.
Reads in part. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission wishes to warn members of the public that it is a criminal offense to obstruct officers of the Commission from carrying out their lawful activities. Section 38 of the Efcc Established Act makes it an offense to prevent officers of the Commission from carrying out their lawful duties. Culprits risk a jail term of not less than 5 years. This warning becomes necessary against the background of the increasing tendency by persons and groups under investigation by the Commission to take laws into their hands by recruiting thugs to obstruct lawful operations of the EFCC. The Commission therefore warns that it will henceforth not tolerate any attempt by any person or organization to obstruct its operation. As such, will be met with appropriate punitive actions. Dr. Bati, I don't know who the EFCC is referring to as thugs, but I mean, I thought that statement was very apt at the time. Obviously, they were referring to the incident that occurred yesterday. I mean, I believe that Yahaya Bello will be arraigned today. But let me just take some more reactions before I come to you, Dr. Abati. This is from Collins, who wrote, "It is outrageous that those in positions of power would brazenly obstruct the operations of a law enforcement agency tasked with fighting corruption. This blatant disregard for the rule of law only serves to perpetuate a culture of impunity and undermines the credibility of our justice system. Governor Ododo must be held accountable for his actions, and anyone else complicit in obstructing the EFCC's operation should face severe consequences, including the risk of jail time. Justice must prevail. Hashtag corruption, rule of law." Dr. Abati, I'm trying to get accountability as well, together with Abati. Accountability is so important. Yes.
Very briefly. There are many dimensions to what is unfolding in Kogi State. There are principles, there are legal issues, there are operational issues, there are political issues. I'll try to run through them. Principle. The first principle is that nobody is above the law. The rule of law in Nigeria applies to everybody.
Yes.
And, any of the agencies that have prosecutorial powers or investigative powers can invite anybody. Number two, when you are a governor or president or deputy governor or vice president, you are covered by Section 308 of the 1999 Constitution, which says you enjoy immunity. The moment you are no longer in office, that Section 308 does not apply. So you cannot say because you occupied a certain position, you cannot be investigated or prosecuted. Number three is that the immunity granted under Section 308 is not transferable. And that applies to Usman Ododo. So when people say it was Governor Ododo who granted immunity to his predecessor, no, there's no such thing. You cannot transfer immunity. But the stories in the papers is that, it was the one that took the former governor out of his house. Number four here is the point being made by the EFCC that under Section 38 of the Establishment Act, you cannot obstruct the work of the EFCC. In fact, it's not only the EFCC or the law enforcement agencies. Otherwise, you'll be guilty of resisting arrest or, obstructing the course of justice. That's that, about the principles. Now, the legal part. The other part of it is that, the former governor of Kogi State and the EFCC, they've been having a running battle in the courts of law. There was a 2015, early 2016 case, which was before Yahaya Bello assumed office, alleging that he was involved in the mismanagement of 84 billion. And you recall that the Kogi State government issued statements and went to court to say no. Yahaya Bello was not even governor at the time they said he had a hand in it, and that how could he have mismanaged resources that he had no access to? So they were having back and forth there. So I think there was a case in court which the Kogi State government instituted, asking for an injunction restraining the EFCC from investigating, arresting, or arraigning, former Governor Yahaya Bello. Now, Kogi State government got that injunction, but the EFCC immediately asked for the vacation of that injunction. But at the higher court, at the Court of Appeal. Now, that matter was to be determined April 22. So the Yahaya Bello camp is now saying, look, if there is a pending matter, the purpose of the injunction is, okay, return to status quo antebellum and allow the court, to determine the suit before you can proceed. I think the EFCC again went to court ahead of the April 22 when that matter will be determined to get a permission from the leave of court to again arraign Governor Yahaya Bello. So you have all of these issues. Now, the more embarrassing part of it is that on both parts, we have seen conflicting orders, from Federal High Court in Abuja, High Court of Lokoja, and, all kinds of interpretations. It's very simple. One High Court that has coordinate jurisdiction cannot act as an appellate court over the other. So they have all of that legal logjam. Now, I said operational, the concern of the manner of operation of the EFCC. So the question people will ask is that, what is this all about? If you have invited a man and he's saying you have cases in court, I mean, the EFCC also has lawyers who can take on the matter, not in a Hollywood-like manner.
The people that invaded that arrest, that assisted Ododo, were they DSS officials? And could they be arrested? That's the question out there.
No. What I'm saying is that Usman Ododo came there as a visitor.
I know.
Covered by Section 308 because he's a sitting governor.
But who aided, who helped him have,
No, he had access. The EFCC would not have studied. He was not the one they were looking for.
Right.
But after the fact, they are now saying, he's not covered, you cannot obstruct the arrest of a person because he left the place with, former governor. If the EFCC had tried to stop him, then that would have made the whole thing so messy. That's why I say in terms of operation, there are operational questions that the EFCC must worry about. Finally, the politics of it. Does this have anything to do with the politics of the APC? Because you recall that there have been some insinuations that Yahaya Bello wants to be a minister, Yahaya Bello wants to be chairman of the party, and then, of course, the bigger part of it is that the EFCC has just gone back to court to amend their charges, to change the dates. So it's like there is also a very new case. So it's a very serious entanglement. But, former Governor Yahaya Bello also does not want to put himself in an embarrassing situation whereby, EFCC will declare him wanted and, he'll be under pressure, to present himself because they can keep going to court, until the matter is cleared up.
We have so many stories.
Yeah, because we have so many stories. So I think you've talked about the legalese. Yeah, we can go ad nauseum. I mean, the Kogi State, when Yahaya Bello was even governor, then the Kogi State governor has even replied and saying the timeline for what they said he had done. It was even before he became governor. I think he officially resumed in January 2016 and all of that. And there's been back and forth. And they're supposed to get the case on the 22nd, like you said rightly. But 22nd of April. But for me, the part I want to talk about is the operational procedure. I mean, if you have invited a man, why don't you wait for the man to come? All right? Or when you go effect arrest, do not have this Nollywood-styled shenanigan that goes on when you go to effect arrest. And also, the operational procedure that governors feel they have the right to come in with their own immunity to be able to bail somebody out. This has happened in the case of, I think, Nunia. We talked about it.
We talked about that.
This has happened also in the case of, if you remember, I think Justice Odili in Abuja. That also happened. You know, in those two cases, it was Governor Wike that went out there. Also, this also shenanigan, not in the case of Nunia and what's it called now, and Justice Odili, but in the case of Okorocha, that his ceiling was broken into just to be able to pull him out, that was being streamed on national TV. I think to a large extent, EFCC needs to be able to sort out its operational procedure right. And secondly, EFCC, whoever is in their, media advice, should stop releasing all these veiled messages. Who were you talking to, Ododo? Don't make it a blanket, what is it called? Is it me that went to exercise immunity?
Well, it was the language that was used.
No.
That's when you call
a governor a thought.
No.
Anyways.
You were calling the governor a talk. Mention his name in there so that we know who you are talking to. And it speaks volumes of even them, you know, calling people all sorts of names. Itemize the particular situation. And also, get your research right. You know, because we've had cases where EFCC will not go back to amend charges and do all of that and all of that. But there's another twist to it. Some people are also claiming that, oh, the car was probably a decoy. That can we be able to prove beyond reasonable that the governor was even in that car? That's another twist to the conversation.
The FCC left there and they have put out a
so we are hearing all sorts of things because there was another story to corroborate the fact that some news outlet was reporting that the governor's phone was sometime in Kogi and all of that. That how are they even sure that it was through the aid that they track him there to be able to go arrest him there? And also, how are we even sure that the governor was in Naka? So we have a lot of, you know, and this goes back to the political area, the political logjam as regards what happened. But most of the time, the people that are always found wanting in effectively executing their operational procedure is always the EFCC.
Yeah, well, all right.
And I think that's one thing we should watch and look at.
Well, all right. I just know that, you know, Ododo has really come under fire and he definitely should not have done that. It's against the rule of law. I'll take this story so you can discuss. But you know that there was that video that was circulating. It appeared that, you know, they were on a private jet and all of that. If you can pull up that video. But that's an old video. But just to show that this godfatherism is here.
How coincidental that the governor was able to get to Abuja to the resident very quickly.
That was it.
That's interesting. Was he in Abuja? Did he happen to be in Abuja?
I love that question.
Because
you're supposed to be governing your state in Kogi. How long does it take to get from Kogi to Abuja?
No.
So, but you know there's private jets.
Normally, I think it will be less than an hour thereabout because even if by
governing.
Quick.
If governors can leave the business of governing to go and celebrate in the Caribbean,
fight the violent guy. Well, all right. Let's take another story. Shall we take another story?
Stop it. I don't like what you're saying.
We'll take another story. Well, in the wake of the recent probe of the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai's 8 years in office by Kaduna State House of Assembly, the Speaker of the House, Honorable Yusuf Liam, on Wednesday warned El-Rufai's son, Bello El-Rufai, from threatening and intimidating the House. Bello, who is a lawmaker representing Kaduna North Federal Constituency, is the first son of Nasiru El-Rufai. Honorable Liam expressed worry that Bello sent insulting and subtle threat messages to him via WhatsApp over the probe of his father. In a statement on Wednesday, the Kaduna House of Assembly, in a series of tweets, wrote that shortly after the committee was established, Bello El-Rufai took to social media with 2 tweets now deleted, calling for a fight and disrespecting the entire legislative arm of government. The screenshots of the tweets and messages have been widely circulated, causing concern among the citizens of Kaduna State. The Assembly went further to state that attempting to obstruct the law functions of the State Assembly, the Kaduna State House of Assembly wants to reassure the good people of Kaduna State that it remains steadfast in its commitment to serving without fear or favor, threats and intimidation from anyone, including federal lawmakers, will not deter the Kaduna House of Assembly from its pursuit of justice and accountability. The Assembly remains resolute in its mandate to provide checks and balances and uphold the rule of law in Kaduna State. I'm coming to you. I mean, this is a federal lawmaker threatening. The other time it was Bashir El-Rufai.
Yeah, I was going to say that we're praising him.
We were praising him that he was
himself.
But now we are seeing.
So I think maybe there are levels to these things.
Yes.
So the governor, he would distance, but with a speaker that, according to that WhatsApp message that was screened, he was instrumental to him emerging as Speaker of the House. But let me say that when it comes to obstruction of justice or investigations, as we see, if it's not the governor coming to shield a former governor, then we have a son coming to defend his father, and even if it takes that, threatening members of the House of Assembly in Kaduna State that, for what they've done. And I think this is such a show of shame. And if you saw in that WhatsApp message, it was even saying you can screen grab the WhatsApp the message. It just shows a reign of impunity. Just the fact that you can do certain things and get away with it. I hope that the Speaker of the Kaduna House of Assembly will report to the IG of Police, especially because a threat was, in his claims, he was threatened. He had mentioned that if he comes to his ward, he would handle things. What are they afraid of? This is a big question.
That's the question.
What is former Governor El-Rufai afraid of? Why? They're not saying that they want to investigate. They want to ask questions.
No, they're
not saying they're going to prison.
The truth is that come out, it's just in the spirit of integrity as leaders.
I love
what kind of leaders do we have in this nation where you're not even willing to present yourself and have the opportunity to defend yourself as to how you spend the money of the people of Kaduna State? And instead, to be fair, the father has not said anything. It's the sons who are fighting the battle of their father. But it is a show of shame, and it is irresponsible, especially for a federal lawmaker. And I do hope that the people will question him, the people he represents in the House.
Well, they should know that no matter what, this probe will continue. If they like, they can send insults as much as they want. They must not be intimidated. The probes, and I love the probes. The probes will continue. We'll take another story. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, Peter Obi, has explained why Nigerians need to return to the parliamentary system of government. Peter Obi made the comments at a lecture at Harvard Law School in Boston, Massachusetts on Tuesday, April 16th. The former Anambra State governor said that Nigeria needs a parliamentary system of government where the president can communicate with citizens at least once a month. Let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
The presidential system, as we operate in Nigeria today, you have a bad leader, and he stayed there for 4 years. While you have a parliamentary system, we can move a motion of no confidence within 2 or 3 years. And again, if we have a parliamentary system, the president will be a member of parliament. Today, if he elects me as president of Nigeria or governor, I can remove myself entirely from being answerable to the people. Just like a gang of lunatics talking rubbish every day. While if it's a parliamentary system, during the president's question time, he has to answer. He doesn't have to hire anybody to speak for him. A president in Nigeria can decide not to talk to anybody for 1 year. And nobody cares. Because he has hired all these people who will be talking. If you say anything, they call you name, they do this. So we need a parliamentary system where the president will be a member of parliament, will be at least one, even if it's once a month, answer the people directly. Because we didn't elect all these gangsters. We elected somebody. And we want the president to talk to us. Not talk to us, to somebody else.
Oh, Dr. Bassi, we don't need lunatics and gangsters. Go ahead. Over to you.
Look, part of the attempt to find a solution to the crisis we have in our politics in Nigeria has been, interest groups, interested persons, politicians, saying that perhaps we need to take another look at the system of government. And that's why recently there have been contributions as to whether it should be parliamentary, which we had in the First Republic, or we should stay with the presidential system of government. This was also one of the major issues during the 2014 National Political Conference. So it's not an issue that will go away. Some people even recommend a combination of both. Some people recommend a confederal system. However, to go straight to the point Mr. Peter Obi was making, he was saying that, look, simply, that a parliamentary system of government will make room for accountability. Because if you are, the prime minister, you'll be a member of parliament. You are just first among equals, as they have in the United Kingdom. Now, he talked about spokespersons, although he didn't name anybody. He referred to them as lunatics and thugs who abuse you when you try to make a contribution. But that in a parliamentary system, the prime minister will be accountable for himself. We see Prime Minister Rishi Sunak during prime minister's question time. Yes. So nobody is coming to explain for him. He will be the one to explain. Absolutely. So I get that point, but Mr. P2B is a presidential candidate. I mean, when it comes on people, lunatics and thugs who will abuse you, I don't want anybody to start imagining that they have lunatics and thugs in the Aso Rock presidential villa. Well, don't name anybody as lunatic.
He knows who he's talking to.
Don't be the one. Don't mention. Don't mention names.
He knows who he's talking to.
Don't mention anybody.
I'm not saying I don't know anybody he's talking to.
I think it was general.
He has left it at the level of innuendo. Just leave it at that.
But I don't think it's about the system of government.
Yes.
I think it's about the accountability that we have in government and the way it's being practiced. The fact that you have presidential system of government, but they made electoral debate mandatory. Why is it that all the candidates, top candidates, did not debate, even including this current president, did not debate in the last presidential election, and we allowed him sail through? So we need to make presidential debate mandatory and those conversations mandatory in the first place. So it's not about the system of government.
That's another advice.
Whatever system of government is also about the human beings.
Yes.
The average Nigerian is problematic. So are we going to import people from outer space?
Well, Buhari said that it was easier to rule cows.